What's going on, you guys? We're back. Well, not at the normal spot. We're at Dom Esposito's house today. Big shout out to him for letting me take over his office space for an afternoon and use some components. And we're filming the second part of my DaVinci Resolve 15 series. The topic for today's video is going to be how do different GPUs affect your export times in DaVinci Resolve 15. So we're actually going to use this build right here. This is the pink build that Dom did for his channel. And it's got a Ryzen 7 2700X. It's 8 cores, 16 threads, 32 gigs of Corsair Vengeance RGB RAM, clocked at 3000 megahertz. And yeah, it's all housed in an MSI X470 Carbon gaming motherboard. The CPU is locked at 4.2 gigahertz, and all of the video files are set up the same way on the SanDisk SSD Extreme USB 3.0 SSD. The export settings are the same, YouTube 2160p, 45 megabit per second, and the footage is all the same from the last video. So if you want to see that, check that out. There'll be a card at the end for the whole series. So diving into the testing data, we started off our exports with a GTX 1080 Ti. And this card is supposed to be the top of NVIDIA's line for consumer graphics cards for gaming. So we expected the best result here. We got a 3-minute and 49-second export on the 4-minute and 6-second video. That's great. You know, half the CPU cores, and we're only a minute behind where I was at with my machine. So the next test we decided to do is we had a 1070 Ti that we threw in, and for some reason the export completed in 2 seconds less, 3 minutes and 47 seconds. And I was shocked at this result, but more on that later. So the third test, we threw in the GTX 1060 6GB card from my wife's machine, and we were back up to the same result as the GTX 1080 Ti with 3 minutes and 49 seconds. The final test was run with the GTX 1050 Ti, which is the GPU from my home theater PC, and it exported in a time of 3 minutes and 45 seconds, which was the fastest of them all. So what gives? Well, while there were differences in export times, we don't know what was going on with Windows in the background, what processes were running. This wasn't a fresh install of Windows, so we couldn't really tell that. And basically, it was just a use case study that shows that there's a margin of error of a couple seconds in either direction, regardless of what graphics card you're using. So that's good for us, right? You can use a cheaper GPU and still get the same video exporting performance. So with that being said, you guys, leave a comment down below whether or not you're surprised that graphics cards didn't make that big of a difference jumping from generations to the actual export time of videos in DaVinci Resolve. Also, leave any comments down below if you have any questions or suggestions. Like this video would be super helpful, and subscribe to my channel to watch me grow. If you want to check out the last video from my channel, why don't you click over here? That's going to be the start of the DaVinci Resolve hardware comparison test. And if you want to check out the video where Dom built this computer behind me, click over here. And if you want to subscribe, click in the middle. With that being said, you guys, I hope you all have a wonderful day.